sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, before the start of interview, I'd like to introduce our dignitary today on the interview. Professor Gurraj is a marketing professor at TAPMI since 1999 and is currently heading the PGDM MSL program and has nearly about 10 years of experience in the industry. Sir, firstly, thanks a lot for accepting our invitation and coming on to our interview, sir.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So, I hope we can carry on with the questionnaire now, sir. Okay.
Sure.
Just to start off with, I just wanted to understand, being the chairman of PGDM MSM at TAPMI, what is your philosophy on leadership, sir? How would you describe your leadership style?
Okay, I'll be speaking specific to this program. Now,
Okay,
this program is titled PGDM MSM. MSM stands for Marketing and Sales Management. The
Okay.
focus is more on sales.
Okay.
And this entire program has basically evolved on the basis of the requirement indicated by the industry. So we have a lot of recruiters telling us that people today, the graduates, MBA graduates, lack selling skills because sales has become more process oriented now, more data driven. And if you look at any general PGDM program in the marketing specialization, they do not have any sales subject. They have only one sales subject, sales management. Other than that, there is not much coverage. Second thing is, our institute was also getting very, very good offers in sales profiles. So for this batch, we very clearly told them that the focus is going to be on sales management.
Okay, sir.
Now, that is where, the question of type of leadership also comes, right? I have been a salesperson, and to me, to be successful in selling, the first thing is the sales attitude. So it's more than the knowledge and skills, it is the attitude. And I see that in India, MBA graduates, by and large, I am saying, are averse to taking up sales jobs. They would say, give me a marketing job any day. Right?
Yes.
So, and I have been a salesperson. You spoke about my industry experience, which is for 10 years. I have been a salesperson. Right?
Okay.
Now, how do I change the attitude? That is the challenge ahead of me. Right?
Okay.
And they are here for 2 years and they have completed their graduation. And to change the attitude of a fully grown up adult is a difficult task. Right? So first approach in leadership is not to portray myself as a leader. I try to be one among them. It's more of being a mentor. It's more of attitude building. Right? So my first job is to make them like selling. Then the rest of the things will follow. Right? So they have a lot of apprehensions about their communication. They have a lot of doubts whether they will succeed. They have a lot of doubts on whether they will get the kind of profiles that they seek for, right? And they get all kinds of information today. There is a lot of information available. So there is a great degree of more the information, there is more confusion. So I act as a mentor more than a leadership, and that is my leadership style.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Perfectly agreed, sir. Then moving on to the second one, sir. The education systems in India and in other foreign countries are structured very differently. And in your experience, what can an inbound student gain from studying here in our institute or your institute in particular?
See, in the MBA context, the major difference in students who secure admission to MBA courses abroad and in India is that most of the students, I would say all the students abroad, go with experience, and that is minimum of 5 years of experience. So the one good thing is that they work in companies, they know how organizations work, they work with professional people, right? So MBA is more about sense making for them. I've seen this happening. What exactly does it mean, right?
Yes, sir.
On the other hand, in India, you see most of the students who get into MBA are freshers. Now, but for the reputed institutions, there are about 4,000 B schools in India, and we have about 20-25 very good ones. The rest of the institutes have to do with freshers.
Yes, sir.
So that's a big challenge for us. So what do we actually, give them in terms of input, right? That is one. Second thing is our MBA programs tend to be much longer. Abroad, you see, MBA program has about 850 hours. Here we have minimum 1050 hours as mandated by the regulator.
Okay, sir.
Right. Now, so, it's more on the basis of what to expect in the industry, what to expect in the company, right? Make them more mature in terms of their EQ. That is the greatest challenge for us here, right? If you look at the MBA curriculum in any business school, you have those marketing. First year you have 2 marketing courses, 2 finance courses, 2 HR courses, right? Second year you have electives. Another problem here is that there is not much of a flexibility in terms of adding new courses and so forth, right? Like they have in the West. West is now moved on to more on practice mode, more on the social dimension and so forth, right?
Okay.
But one good thing I see in India in the last few years that has happened is a couple of things I would like to mention. The focus on research has increased in B schools, good B schools. So students should basically look at those institutions where the research track record is good. Now what is happening is whatever is the outcome of the research, it comes into the classroom if the faculty is involved in the research. So they get the latest.
Yes, sir.
That is one. Second thing is most of the B schools do applied research, meaning that they do research based on what is happening in the industry. Right? That is number one. Right. Second thing I am noticing is most of the B schools in India, the good ones, are going for international accreditations, which speaks for the quality. Right. So they have processes in place. Second thing is they are all measuring the outcome now, saying that okay, I have this as a course objective, but what is it the student is capable of at the end of the 2 years? And they are clearly articulating and they are measuring it.
Yes,
right.
Sir.
Third thing I see is that because you have freshers coming in, right? They do not have experience. What kind of experience can we give to these students? Right? There are 2 types. One is the surrogate, another one is the real. So I see more and more institutes going for extended internships, winter internships. Second thing I see is that there is a lot of variation in the pedagogy, more and more experiential learning methods. I think that is what we offer. As TAPME also, we offer to our students an excellent curriculum, top class research faculty, experiential learning as a pedagogy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So how does the curriculum of TAPME ensure the best practice of industry?
See, we have 4 programs. One is the flagship PGDM program, which has been there for more than 3 decades. Then we have a PGDM in BKFS, Banking and Financial Services. We have a PGDM in Human Resource Management, and we have a PGDM in MSM, which is Marketing and Sales Management. Now, for all these programs, we have an advisory board, and this advisory board consists of practitioners from the industry. Now, for example, you look at the MSM program for which I am the chairman, right?
Sir.
I have the senior vice president of Wipro Consumer Care.
Oh.
I have the CEO of Kevin Care. I have the country head of TCS from Germany.
Oh, great, sir.
I have the brand manager of Myntra. These are the people who are actually guiding us. Second thing is, being an autonomous institute helps us in updating our curriculum regularly. In fact, we advise our faculty look into what is happening, what are the latest developments, and incorporate that. So there is a 20% change in the curriculum itself across all programs. Third is that we have industry-driven projects. We take projects from the industry and involve students. Now, currently, we have got a project in marketing on which students and the faculty are working. We did some projects for ITC last year. Right? These are field projects. And the fourth one is, we have formal industry engagement programs. Like, we have an event called Disha where we call 70-80 industry practitioners in Manipal. Manipal is 65 kilometers away from Mangalore, and it's a very small place. And getting 60-70 industry professionals there. And it's a 1-week program where our students get exposed to the best of the practitioners. And we have a regular industry interaction in terms of guest lectures and so forth. Another thing I would like to tell you is that we have very good executive education program. We do an executive education program, 1-year program with Mu Sigma. Then we also have a virtual executive learning. And this is where our faculty interact with the industry. And, you can bring the best practices of the industry into the classroom now, right? So our curriculum is very, very dynamic. And we give a lot of hands-on experience to students. We have the largest finance lab in the country. We are in the process of building a marketing lab to conduct consumer research. Our curriculum in finance is aligned with CFA. Our curriculum in MSM is aligned with SHRM.
Yes, sir. Great, sir. Great to know this. So, sir, any insights into how your college could be more welcoming to students of different races or, for that matter, economic backgrounds?
See, I We do already. Now, if you look at gender ratio,
Yes, sir.
we stand at 32% today. I mean, 32% women as against
Yes,
68% men. I think which is very healthy. And I would also like to tell you that it is growing across the years. So we have students from I think 26 states in India.
Okay,
Right? And if you look at graduation, we have about 60-65% engineers. The remaining are from non-engineering background. Now we have students from arts, commerce, science, pharma, law, hotel management, BBA. We have people who have done their CA Inter, right? So it's a very heterogeneous mix, right? We would very much like to take students from overseas, but we are not allowed to take students from overseas. Other than we have some provision for people of Indian origin who are from outside. That we are doing already.
Okay,
right?
sir.
So we are actually being in Karnataka in a small place. We are a pan-India institute. In fact, I have faculty members from 19-20 different states here. So
that itself encourages the diversity.
Yeah. So we have always been, very, very open. We are welcome. We would like to have as much diversity as possible here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, sir, when you first came to TAPME, what was your vision for the institute and has it evolved over time? And how far along are you in implementing the vision that you have envisioned?
See, I would also like to tell you I'm an alum of this institute. I graduated in 90.
Okay.
At that time, private B schools were very rare in India. In fact, MBA education itself was not very well known. Right. But when I joined as a faculty in 1999, after spending close to a decade in the industry, when I came here, right, the institute actually had a vision that time saying that it should be the best B school, one of the best B schools in India with a very good quality program. But over a period of time, I see that the vision has broadened into clearly defining what it means to be a best B school in India. Today, we are talking about the most sought after B school, and we have very clearly articulated mission statement which says that our mission is to excel in postgraduate management, education, research, and practice. You can very clearly see we have defined three things: education, practice, and research, right? So it actually aligns very well with the fundamental duties of an education institute, that is creating knowledge, applying knowledge, and disseminating knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in fact, we have a portfolio of activities now. It is no longer just teaching. We have a very solid program, rigorous program. We are very, very far ahead than other schools in our research output. We also do fair amount of consulting, and we are very, very active in the executive education program. So, when it comes to B school, all the activities that are required for a B school are on track.
Yes, sir. So, what do you see as TAPME's greatest strengths? See,
I would say we have several strengths, but I would say our greatest strength over a period of time, which we, a strength that you talk about in an institutional context has to be sustainable, and it should also give you a competitive advantage, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I would say our strength has been our academic rigor. Right?
Yes, sir.
And it is backed by the pedagogy. So we were the first ones, I think, in the private school to go for the case method extensively. Right? We also have a lot of simulations built into our programs. We also have many projects built into the program itself. We give real life experience to students. For example, I would like to talk about a market research activity that we do where students go and seek projects from the industry. We charge the companies for the projects. These are live projects.
Yes, sir.
We do about 10-12 projects. It's called an activity called Brand Scan, which is done very creatively. Right now, see, the thing is we have been evolving all the time. Right now, this year we have taken a break. You know why? Because of COVID. Right? Yes. And it is the right time for us to reflect also. Next year, it is going to come in a better avatar, Brand Scan. We are going to deploy technology more and more into this activity. Right? So our strength, if you ask, has been academic rigor and the pedagogy. And each of our faculty are committed to this. We know that yes, research is extremely important for us, consulting is extremely important for us, but our primary task is to give India very well trained, competent managers.
Great, sir.
Yeah.
What are some of your biggest challenges that you see both for higher education in general and for TAPME in particular?
See, these challenges are multifaceted, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, I have to admit this MBA space has become extremely competitive, and we take students on the basis of their CAT and ZAT scores, and we are at the top 20 percentile, right? So
Yes,
if you take that, okay, about 2 lakh students write CAT, we are after that top 35,000 people, and so are about 20 IIMs and other top B schools. So attracting the best of talent is a challenge for us, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
And second thing is, I would say today meeting the expectation of the industry goes far beyond technical skills. Now, if you look at any MBA curriculum, how many communication course you have, how much communication scope you have one, right? But today, if you look at the industry, they emphasize so much on communication, soft skills. They say
Yes,
that
sir.
yes, we get candidates with those technical skills, but these skills are very important, right?
Yes, sir.
Second thing, yeah, that is the biggest challenge we have. Second thing is they also talk about more and more general awareness, being comfortable with the diversity as traits that are required. So our challenge is to include that into the curriculum. So we are already on track. In fact, we have introduced a course on logic last year, right, as an elective. We are also on the way to introduce a foreign language, and we have so many labs being done, right? Those are the challenges, and the rate of change is so fast, right? Technology adoption is a challenge for us. Now, currently, we are facing the challenge of being very, very effective in this virtual mode. We have started our classes online, and we have spent a large amount of money on readying our classrooms for digital delivery. We have installed digital boards in all the classrooms. We have given faculty facilities, digital tablets, and other things. We have invested in technology. We have invested in bandwidth, right? So
Yes, sir.
this is another challenge. It is a temporary challenge, and I hope that it stays temporary. But this is a challenge that we are facing, right? Attracting the best talent and preparing them along the dimensions that the industry. See, no industry person is telling us that the students lack knowledge in marketing, accounting, HR. These are the things that they say, and I have checked it. It is not only specific to TAPME, it is specific to institutions across India.
Yes, sir.
Recruiters tell us this is what we see today, right? That is the biggest challenge for us.
Yes, sir. Sir, any suggestions you would like to give to the aspiring students in general and to MBA aspirants in particular?
See, I will be talking about only MBA aspirants.
Yes, sir.
See, MBA has this glamour built around it, right?
Yes, sir.
I think there is a notion that once you do your MBA, life is very cushy after that. But I feel that all your difficulties start after that. Even with work experience, my suggestion to you is you would have worked for 2-3 years, but probably nobody came to you seeking for advice. Nobody asked you to make decisions. But with MBA, you are required to deliver right from day one. Right.
Yes, sir.
Second thing is, students come with this 10 plus, 12 plus, 3 or 4, and they are used to a particular style of learning and studying, right?
Yes, sir.
So I asked someone how good you are. Probably I am told that, sir, I'm very good because I got 80% in my graduation. Here is the marks card and other things. But as a manager, nobody looks at that. Everyone expects how good you are as a manager. How much have you internalized, right?
Yes, sir.
MBA education is not just about knowing something, reproducing something. It is internalizing. I feel MBA is a transformational process. After 2 years, when they come out, they should see the world differently. They should see themselves differently. They should see situations differently. And they should be able to make sense out of those things. They should be able to make a sense out of ambiguous situations also. And this is a very tough journey, right? MBA education in good institutes does not come very cheap. You have to spend a lot of money. Probably every minute, if you count, in 2 years, it costs you some 100 rupees. Make the best use of those 100 rupees. If you do very well in CAT and get into a good institute, then it is not the time for you to sit back and relax. Your journey starts there. You must understand once you get into a good institute, you have to be first among equals, because everyone is as good as you. They all have cracked CAT. They all have secured more than 90 percentile or 85 percentile. And at the end of 2 years, when you are trying to get a job, these are the same people with whom you compete.
Yes, sir, that's true.
Right? So it is not a time to relax. It is the best opportunity of your life. If you manage to get into a good institute, make the best use of it. Learn as much as you can. Internalize as much as you can.
Yes, sir. So what are some plans that you're currently designing for tackling international affairs and for the students?
See, we have a tie-up with some universities overseas in Australia and UK.
Okay.
And we offer some credit exchange to our students. Right? But it is left to the choice of the students whether they want to take it or not. But what we have introduced last year is a compulsory international immersion program for first-year students when they come in.
Yes, sir.
It's a week-long program where they are taken to a place like Dubai, where they are taken to different companies there, and they get exposed to how these companies are structured, what is their business about, what are their priorities, what are their customers, and so forth. And they basically get an exposure to business at a global international level. Right? This we have made it compulsory to students last year. Yes, and this was done for PGDM. And now we are really encouraged with the success of this. And soon we are planning to extend it to other programs as well. Right now, for the MSM program, I would, if not, I would like to send them to, mainly sales-oriented companies, right, and get an exposure there also, right. The other international exposure we give to our students is every year in the month of January we do a conference in Bounded Rationality, and that is done in collaboration with Max Planck Institute for Behavioral Sciences, right. So this is on bounded rationality. This Max Planck Institute is located in Germany, right? So the scholars from there come, and we have excellent 1 week winter school where the best of papers are presented on behavioral science and bounded rationality. So this is an exposure to our students as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, how do you tend to establish healthy relations and environment in your institute?
See, we are located in a small place. Must be aware, we are 5 kilometers from Udupi. Udupi itself is a very small place, right? But I think we have a very formal, very well-defined program to serve the local society, right? So we have a course called Seva, right? Under which the students take up projects to help the local businesses. A group of students takes up one business locally, and we do about 40-50 projects in a year, right? Let me give you an example. One project which we did, it was for a community here, which was a weaver community.
Okay.
Right. Now, slowly what had happened is, because of lack of access to market, their next generation was slowly moving away from that traditional business. So our students, under the guidance of a faculty, went there, got themselves to organize in their business, gave them market access, right? And in fact, this work they have done was appreciated, and in the AICTE, our faculty went and made a presentation also. And this is compulsory for all students. Each group of students do a project like that, right? Second thing is, we have an initiative called Omega. We have a lot of small companies here, SMEs, right?
Yes.
So if they have any particular issue, right, any problem, a group of students takes up that problem, and we charge them very nominally, only to cover their expenses, which is few thousands of rupees, right?
Yes, sir.
And the students work on that, and they give solutions to these companies for implementation and so forth, right? But this is not compulsory. This is based on identifying an opportunity to do the project, whereas Seva is compulsory. Right.
Yes, sir.
Third thing, as faculty members, what we have been doing is we have been engaging with the local bodies here, the industrial body, and we are actually, now we are in the process of picking up topics, digital marketing, key account management, and we take these sessions to the local entrepreneurs here. That is what we are doing to the local environment. Then other than that, we have done some projects here also with the local DC office. So we have a lake here. So there was a project on how to make it more attractive to public to come and other things, right? No, and not actually impinging on the environment there. So our faculty have done a project there. So we have thought of, we are committed to serving the local community here. In fact, our alumni, the batch of 96, spent 25 lakh rupees and built some 5 rooms in a local government college school here nearby Manipal.
Okay, sir. Okay. Great, sir. So, sir, great interacting with you. It's been very informative, and we've had an elaborate discussion on the topics of education. I'm sure this would help for guiding students choose their right career paths, and it's been a pleasure interacting with you, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and wish you all the best.
Thanks a lot, sir.
The students who are seeking to get into a good B school.
Thank you, sir.